MLP series review, season 7, episode 4, Rock Solid Friendship. Holy moly. Another insanely good episode. Another one. That's 2 in a row. This was a super heart shaped, special, awesome, perfect episode. I I don't even know how. The writer of this one was Nick Confalone. So again, another person. I guess they got new writers for season 7, and these new writers were way better than the writers for season 6. I'm gonna go through probably. Um, I'm gonna make a recording for each episode. It's gonna take a while for each episode, like for each season, and I'm gonna say the writers of them because I really want to know who to be like. These are the good people. Anyways, um, it's a Pinkie Pie mod episode. Um, right? A mod episode being one of my favorites. Who even would have guessed? We did get Marble. Woo, we got Marble. Um, for a little bit, and that's I just like seeing her. As long seeing them is enough to make me happy because like I got a little bit mad in this episode because Rarity talks about Coloratura, and it's like, man, you could show Coloratura more. Like I would enjoy seeing her more. So even seeing them is like an awesome like thing most of the time. So anyways, Maud becomes a doctor in like rock stuff. She gets a doctorate, and she's deciding to move to Ponyville or to move to Ghastly Gorge because she wants to study rocks more. And what happens is Pinkie really wants her to move to Ponyville, so she's at first she's trying to show her how special the rocks are, but they're not. They're not really. And Maud's just like they're meh. And like there's so many good attention. There's so much good detail attention in this episode. It's super funny. This episode is super funny. There's so many good super funny parts. Um, so they go down and Rarity and Spike are finding gems or whatever, and Rarity's like, if you could find this one, and Maud finds like a kabillion of them, and she's like, all of these gems are like super common, and it like hurts Rarity a lot, like she's crying because like she mainly gets her stuff from that for her fashion. But the thing is that Rarity she isn't she isn't liked because her fashion isn't liked because of the gems that are used. It's because she's really good at using the gems that she uses. So, anyways, um, and then uh, there's just funny gags. Riki's trying to find rocks, and she's like, "There's a Lyra heartstring shaped rock," and she brings Lyra, and Lyra looks at her like, "What the crap are you doing?" And then Pinkie looks at her like, "If you don't do this, I'm going to murder you." And then Lyra's just like, "I'm a rock," like she's not moving. Um, and then Maud is like, "It's not a completely rock based decision." She's like, I'd like to study with like rocks with a friend or whatever," and like, well, she says I'd like to study rocks with someone else, and Pinkie Pie's like, "You want a friend?" And she's like, "Yes," or she's like, "I wouldn't mind one." And then like they're at Twilight's castle because that was another thing that Pinkie Pie tried to show her to impress her with rocks or whatever. And she's like, "Somebody will come marching right out of that," and like nobody comes. And then like Starlight comes out, and Starlight bumps into Maud, and like there's a super funny part right there. And then uh Starlight and Maud start spending time together, and I thought it was gonna go like not great, dude. Starlight and Maud, the dynamic is super freaking awesome. It's like super awesome. They're so fun together. I like them so much more now, both of them, because of them together. Funny gags again, like freaking Starlight's like, what else do you like or whatever, and like uh Maud's like, "Oh, I like fissures and I like these other things," and Starlight's like, "Oh, I really like kites." And then like they go kite flying, and like Starlight had built a kite, and she's like saying all these super ultra technical kite terms, and then she's like, "I really like kites." And it's like super funny because it's so weird, like, okay. And like even though it's out of nowhere, it's so fun. Like, why wouldn't she like kites? Kites are fun. Who doesn't like kites? And then they go back to the caves or whatever, and like Starlight is like, "Why do you like rocks so much?" And like it's really good because Maud explains, and it's a really deep reason, and it's like Starlight's like, oh yeah, oh, and it's really cool because they give a reason as to why, how they, because they knew each other from before, and like it was before Starlight had enslaved the village that she asked her if she like knew where she could find a rock to enslave a village, and Maud was like, oh yeah, over in that cave because she found it first. And then like Starlight and Maud like stumble on this thing underground, and it's like this huge like underwater cave, like that's beautiful with like it's just really nice. And Starlight's like, "Oh, have you ever come across something like this?" And Maud's like, "No." She's like, "Which is really rare for me." And it's like, yeah, like she found something to study that she'd never found before, so that was already like good. But then Pinky's being like super overbearing, and she's trying to help them be better friends, but they're already being really good friends without Pinky. So Pinky kind of like gets Maud angry, and Maud is just like, you know what? And she leaves, and she's like, I should just be alone or whatever. And then we get like another funny part with like Pinky and, oh, okay, and I want to say this too because apparently Maud's name isn't just Maud Pie, just like Pinky's isn't Pinkie Pie. It's like Pinkamena Diane Pie, and then Maud's is Modelina Daisy Pie, which is cool because now I want to know if Marble and if Limestone also have longer names because that's just interesting, and like it really plays into the fact that they're supposed to be like Amish, and like they gave them like whatchamacallit, like really um proper names, but they just call them by like shorter names. So, anyways, what happens is Maud leaves. She goes to Ghastly Gorge because she like Pinky's being too. Like Pinky was even annoying me. I was like, oh my gosh, just leave them alone. And we get a really funny gag where Pinky goes and talks to Starlight, and it's super funny. And like Starlight's trying not to be a jerk, but she's not very good at not being a jerk. And she's like, "Oh yeah, you ruined everything." And she's like, "Oh, sorry, that's a little too blunt, huh?" She's like, "Yeah, everything you made terrible or something." And like Pinky just cries and runs away. And Starlight's like, "Ooh, friendship problem solved." She just gets under the blankets. It's super funny. And then Pinky goes and she goes to Ghastly Gorge or whatever, and she saves Maud from eels because eels are trying to eat her. And then they get like you get like a really good apology scene from Pinkie Pie, and she's like, "I'm sorry." She's like, "I was wrong." She's like, "I should have let you do things your way instead of trying to make you do things my way." And we get like a really cute scene where Pinky cries again, and she's like, "Please just come back to Ponyville and give it one more chance." So Maud goes back to Ponyville, and what happens is she moves into the place that her and Starlight discovered or whatever. And Starlight's flying a kite, and Maud comes and she's flying a kite too, and Starlight's like, "Oh, you're back." She's like, for like permanent, and Maud's like, "Yeah," and like Starlight's all happy, and she's in Star and Maud's like, "You want to come and help me like fix up my place?" And she's like, "Sure." So they go to that cave or whatever, and like they're about to start. She's like, "It's perfect." Like Starlight's like, "Oh, it's beautiful, it's perfect," or whatever, and then Pinkie Pie comes and like they just look at her and she's like, I'm sorry." She's like, I'm leaving," and she leaves. And it's just like really, really, really good. Like excellent episode. Like, dude, how 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 has this done such a turnaround? Was the last season so bad? I don't think so. I think this season is just I don't think this can keep up. I really, really don't. You had a 4, and then a perfect and a perfect. I don't think this is possible, but I'm gonna keep going. So, yeah, this was another special, awesome, perfect episode. I am super impressed, and I'm glad that I'm watching these.